Lights, camera, action. Today's video is all about action, food photography, that sense of action, that anticipation of motion. How can we create these looks to make our food more appealing, to create more impact in the image? How can we get creative to make our food photos stand out from the crowd? So, without further ado, let's get into the action. Well, like the title says, 5 ways of creating action and motion within our food photography to help tell our story, to help make our images more dramatic, to make that food look more appetizing so you're going to want it. Now, the first one we're going to look at is the drip. It could be like this soup with it dripping from the spoon. It could be from a fork and the sauce is dripping from that cheesecake. That looks good. Or it could literally be food itself leaking, dripping. That is our first way. It's not only just a motion, it's a anticipation of motion because you're waiting for that drip to fall. Now, that fall actually leads me into my next one, which is drop. Now, we can drop like an olive into a martini, create that splash, and we can freeze it, making an awesome looking image. So we can drop things into drinks and liquids to create a beautiful sense of motion and action to make it not only appetizing, but an interesting image. Now, don't just think of liquids for that. What if we take icing sugar or sugar? Look at these muffins stacked nicely with the icing sugar falling down like it's snowing. It could be sprinkles on a cake or a cupcake. You have that action, that sense of motion. Now, since we were talking about the liquids, those drops can actually be my next one, which is splash. We can create splashes to create interest within our images. Now, you don't necessarily need to freeze frame the action. You can have it slightly blurry to increase that sense of action, that sense of motion within the image. So you can see within the splashes with the orange, with all that liquid going around, it's helping invoke the freshness and the juiciness of those oranges, which makes it enticing. Look at that drink. Not only is it a cool kind of little ad type photo, but that sense of motion really helps bring it to the freshness and juiciness and the tastiness of that drink. So you can see how splashing can work beautifully within your images. Now the next one is pouring. You see lots of people pouring milk into glasses, wine into glasses, especially red wine poured into glasses. Do it myself. It creates an impact and it looks amazing in the photo. It could also potentially help sell your product. Now within pouring, there's lots of other things you can pour besides pure liquids. How about a sauce, like the ketchup on this hot dog? That's almost an anticipation of action as you could see it starting to go across the hot dog. It makes it more appetizing. You could be selling hot dogs by doing an ad like that. Now, other than just pouring liquids and things, you've got dry goods, oatmeal, salts, sugar, all kinds. Look at me pouring flour in this image with that sense of motion. It's almost like a documentary style of me doing baking, and it helps bring impact and storytelling to that image of someone doing some baking in the kitchen. Now our next one, as you saw in me pouring flour, is motion and the blurriness to it. We've got some out of focus. We got some blurring happening. That helps impact the image and really shows that there's some motion and action going on within it. I mean, you saw me pouring the flour, but look at these pictures of me manhandling some bread dough, and you can see that there's some blurring going on in the hands. You can see there's action and movement going on within it. How about this static scene? But the one hand with the knife that's cutting the apple is showing that there's some motion going on, or that we're dipping that cracker into cheese. And you've got that bit of a drip coming off. So not only do you have the blur going on, you've got a bit of a drip, which is what? Going to turn into a drop. So you can start combining some of these. I mean, think of that cheese one this one here. Think if I would have had a drop hit the top of that cheese and created a bit of a splash. And I still have a drip and I still have a drop hanging. So, and I've got the motion blur to the hand. I've combined multiples of these to create one image that can really have a big impact. So don't think you're bound to just one thing. Oh, I'm only going to do the drip. I'm only going to do the motion blur. Think about combining these in a creative way to really add impact to your image. So that's the 5 ways that I know of to create action and motion. If you can think of any other ways, put it in the comments down below, because it might not be something I thought of and maybe something I can incorporate. But yeah, that's it for this one. Think outside the box, get creative with this, create some fun motion action images to up your game. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you're aware when I post new videos like this. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. So, until the next time.